Hi there, welcome to the new session. In this session, we are going to study about the remaining concepts in International Business Unit 5. In the past session, we have seen the issues involved in production process, cost of production, vertical integration, forward, backward, sourcing, reasons and challenges. So now let us start international marketing activities, right? So we have seen production and now we are going to see about the marketing in activities at international level, right? International marketing activities. So what is marketing? Marketing is nothing but getting and retaining customers, though it is at domestic level or at international level. So just getting the customers and we have to retain them. If you see the activities, the marketing activities, the international marketing activities usually based upon the firm's goals, objectives, right, and the strategies. So whatever the strategy that you follow, so that will lead to reach your goal, or that will lead you to fulfill your objectives or your ambitions, right? So like how, so international marketing activities are also interlinked with firms' corporate goals, objectives, and strategies, right? So the overall aim, though it is a marketing activity or production activity or it is some other activity, so the overall aim, the aim of an uh, a strategy or an activity is to fulfill the objectives of the organization, right? So the objectives and strategies of a firm has a great impact on taking marketing international decisions, right? So whether if you are entering into new uncertain markets or uh, a certain market, or how maximum would be your risk that is that the firm is ready to take, or the level of control required over the uh, international operations. And if you see, these international marketing activities is dependent on two important factors. So the first important factor is self-reference criteria. Self-reference means, so based on your own reference. Suppose if you have certain reference or certain way of marketing strategy in your domestic market. So now you entered into international market. If you use same type of domestic reference, so domestic marketing strategy at international level also, then that would be called as self reference criteria. Okay. And also ethnocentrism, and ethnocentrism, which is nothing but where the managers form affluent countries, means based upon the affluent countries, the strategies or the markets, everything will be changed, right? So one is same as your domestic, and the other one is having some changes. So these two are the important factors, or the two primary obstacles usually to get uh, success in international marketing. So ethnocentrism and self-reference both are closely connected, and it can be defined as the one's own culture or company's knows best how to do things, right? So if you see ethnocentric approach, during the approaches of international business, we have studied about ethnocentric approach, which is nothing but so following all the rules and regulations, or following all the product strategies, or product the type of product that you are producing is as same as in domestic market, we use it to international market also, just we export the goods. In ethnocentrism, just we export the goods, we don't follow new strategy, we don't follow changes in the production. So like how, so these two are the major two obstacles, like self preference criteria or ethnocentrism. These two are the important obstacles that a business to get success, right? So in order to get succeeded in international marketing also, so a business has to change its self-reference criteria and ethnocentrism uh, based upon the level of its effects, and based upon how the customers are receiving in international markets. So that you need to consider. So now if you see, uh, here I mentioned you. So it exists in the firms where the manager from affluent countries work with the managers and the markets which are less affluent. So understanding this, uh, understanding and dealing with the self-reference criteria, two important facts of international marketing. Even though self-reference criteria and ethnocentrism proves the ability of the firm to understand better markets in its true light, right? So though sometimes if you are stick to the self-reference criteria or ethnocentrism, sometimes you may get succeeded, but sometimes your product will be in a chance of failing, right? So you have to change according to the cultural differences, or according to the needs and wants of the customers in that place. So all these things you need to consider. If you are going for western markets, according to that you have to enter. So having knowledge about the western markets, you have to enter into the western markets. Suppose if you are going into eastern markets, you have to study, you should have the knowledge of their culture, so knowledge of the people. So all these things, some kind of basic study you need to do, and you have to enter into those markets, right? So if you do so then obviously you will get success, right? So if you don't do, you just follow your self reference point, or you just depend on your ethnocentrism, means what kind of product that you are producing domestically, same if you are distributing or if you are selling in international markets also, you may not get succeeded. So here are some of the examples, so where some of the companies has just left their self preference or just left ethnocentrism and adopted some of the changes in their products. So by just adopting some of the changes in their products and doing some basic study, so they were succeeded, right? The first ESSO. So ESSO is a brand name of gasoline, so with a successful name in the United States. So right, uh, the first example is ESSO. So it is a gasoline company where it is having where it is succeeded in United States initially. Right now, if it wants to, and apparently it would be considered as less harmful enough for the foreign countries. But if you see in Japan, so the name phonetically means staled car, right? So in Japanese language, so the word ESSO means, that means it reflects a stale car. What is meant by stale car? Stale car means just it is slowing or stopping of a process, or some kind of engine reference failure, sudden stopping of the engine. So all these, something usually brought accidentally, some stoppage has been happened, so then that would be that is meant by stale car. So name that name gave them a bad impact, uh, undesirable image. So it is a gasoline company which is nothing but petrol, right? So now, by using that name, will it get success? No, it won't get success, because of that name. Because of that name, uh, which gives a meaning of stale car, which is strange, and it is considered as an undesirable image of petrol. So it got losses. So that is the reason you need, whenever you are entering into such kind of markets, you need to check all these things also. What is the meaning, of that? So what it gives, so means what kind of image it is going to give you. So for marketers to be successful in foreign markets, it is necessary for them to take time, and they must also know about the culture, norms, taste, traits, behavior, everything regarding that market where you are going to enter. Just leaving behind your self preference criteria, you need to study about their culture. You need to study about their culture. So what are their norms, what are their traits, what are their tastes, how they will behave. So what are the conditions uh, existing in that particular market situation. All these things you need to check, and based on that only you have to enter. Okay, one more example also I have mentioned here, that is uh, mac whites, so which is British chocolate biscuits. So it used the same approach. Like just leaving that self reference point and ethnocentric approach. So just it changed by using some of the important marketing strategies. So they entered into the uh, they entered into other countries, foreign countries. So they got a good reputation. They got even more sales than their domestic markets, right? A British chocolate biscuit company used same approach and got the positive result. So the company wanted to introduce the chocolates and the biscuits in Japan. So the company ignored its self reference point. It just left its self reference point, means what kind of strategy it is following in its domestic market, or what are the means you see. So what is their culture, based on that culture, it usually in domestic markets, based on the culture of the domestic market, they used to produce. They just left all those things, and just whenever they are entering into this country, so they have done certain basic studies regarding their culture, so and regarding their tastes and preferences. Based on that, some modifications has been done to those biscuits, and they got a good result. So the company just ignored self preference criteria and introduced the biscuits in different attractive packages to accommodate the Japanese market. So in spite of the real packaging, so where the Japan were wrapped individually and packed in presentation cardboard boxes, and they were sold in the price three times higher than in UK. The cookies are used as special gifts in Japan. So that's what the changes they have done in that have they done for those chocolate biscuits. And they even got three times the price, three times higher than that they are paying in UK. Okay, so that is one more example. And here also you can see, so being an international company like Unilever, so the same approach in Brazil to introduce its soaps, which was cheaper enough for Brazilians to buy and more convenient to use. So when Unilever wants to enter into a country, Brazil, so they have just introduced its soaps cheaper than the Brazilian, cheaper than their economic situations, right? So Brazilians can easily buy and more convenient to use. So they have introduced that kind of strategy. So they changed the packaging, they reformulated some of the detergents according to the wish of the Brazilians. So that made them to success. Okay, so because of these some kind of changes, because of little efforts that we are putting, so little changes like packaging or some kind of things that we use in order to produce it. So if you do all these things, will be get succeeded. And one more example also, McDonald's, right? So when they are going internationally, if you see a traditional country like India, so when they use mutton patties sometimes, uh, means if, the burger the patty in that burger, right? Usually it is made of beef in other countries, but whereas in country like India, Indians will feel a cow as a sacred animal, right? So they just replaced that beef with mutton or with chicken, so they got succeeded in India. So because of some of the changes, just referring their self reference points, if they are following some important things, important things related to their culture of that particular country where you are entering, so then you will get succeeded, right? So that is international marketing activities. Whenever you are doing these marketing activities, you need to consider these kind of things. You need to left the self reference criteria and ethnocentrism. So you need to study the culture or the traits or the tastes and preferences of that particular country where you are entering in. So according to that, if you once studied about that, according to that you need to change your product, so that if you changed your product, you may get succeeded in those markets also, right? So that is about international marketing activities. So one more important marketing concept in international business operations is branding. What is branding? What is brand? Brand is nothing but a name. For you to clearly understand, branding is nothing but a name. So where you are just having an image of that particular company. Once if you heard the name, or once if you heard the brand, So something comes into your mind, some kind of image comes into your mind, or you'll have a position in your mind. So that is nothing but branding. Product positioning, if you are able to position the product in your brain, or if you perceive some kind of value out of that word, that would be called as branding. Usually brands are very simple. It consists of logo with a meaning in that, and that meaning has to be easily understandable by the customers or by the clients, so that they can easily recognize, they can easily remember. So that once if they recognize and if they remember, they'll give some kind of position in their brains or in their minds. So once if you are getting that position, which is nothing but product positioning, so either the product positioning can be positive or the negative. Once if the product positioning is positive, you are succeeded in your marketing branding strategies. So once if it is negative, you need to concentrate on some of the aspects, and you need to change that negative into positive by doing some of the branding strategies. Okay, so this branding is closely linked to product positioning. If you observe that I told you, so positioning, putting position of that particular brand, yes, this is good, this is best, or this is worst. So like how we are positioning the brands according to the image that we have, right? To get that image, we need to follow certain kind of branding strategies. So closely linked to product positioning and communication issues. So international marketing decisions are totally dependent on international branding strategies. So based upon the branding strategies, you need branding strategies, your international marketing decisions will be dependent. So what is the main purpose of branding? First of all, so the main purpose of branding is to create an identification or to create awareness. So majorly, so the major reason for branding is to create identification and to have some awareness, right? Branding strategies can be distinguished. Sometimes we distinguish we distinguish different companies based upon the strategies they follow, right? Based upon the strategies they follow, one company may choose one kind of strategy and other company may choose other kind of strategy. Based on that also you will differentiate, okay, this company is choosing this strategy, based on that you may perceive some value, based on that again the reputation will be generated. So all these things will be a part of branding strategies. Here are some of the important branding strategies. So the first one is, if the product has production consistency and silent attributes which would be differentiated, then it would be better for the manufacturer to go for branding. Otherwise better to sell the product without any brand. Means here we have two options. Suppose if your product if your product has consistent production, so means the supply is consistent, and it is having certain salient features, means good features, so which can be differentiated from other brands also, right? In such cases, so you can go for branding, right? You can go for branding. So if the features are good, that features of a product are good, so that features of the product will increase the brand value, will generate some kind of brand awareness in the markets, right? That would be one strategy. And other strategy is, so without any branding also you can sell because of the branding strategy, because of the salient features or salient attributes that are consisting in that product. So either you have to do aggressive branding, or without branding also you can sell your product because of its features, right? So one more strategy, so that is, if the manufacturer is least dependent person, it would be feasible to go for the manufacturer's own brands, right? So means if he is independent person, if the manufacturer is least dependent, so means he is independent completely, is not dependent on any other types, like on suppliers, or in distributors, or it is not dependent on any other businesses. So if it is independent, so aggressively you can go for brand. So you can uh, prepare your own brand, and means a logo for the brand, and you can just take that brand into the markets. you can create it into a private brand also sometimes. If there is an intermarket differences like demographic, psychological, or some kind of other things, then it would be better to go for global brands, right? So if the intermarkets differences like means, if you are concentrating on two or more countries, more than three, take example 1 2 3, if these three countries are having demographical differences, psychological differences, so then you have to either follow local brands, or you should better go global brand. So though it is 3 or 10 or 20, if you go for global brand, no changes can be done. No need for you to change in your brand image, means in your brand logo or the quotes that you use. You can easily take that brand into the markets. And one more, uh, okay, okay, these three are just see, these three are these three are the important branding strategies that we usually follow at international level, usually based upon your based upon your approach, whether you are going for ethnocentric or polycentric, geocentric, regiocentric, your branding strategies will change. Okay. Okay, that's the end of the session. So in the next session we discuss remaining things. Thank you.